Alrighty, everyone. Welcome back to the UFD franchise. Hello, Voodoo.
Hello, Cameron.
And yes, so we're here in the playoffs. Obviously, neither of our teams are in it, which is was expected to some degree. Um, Maybe not fully expecting based on our projections the Battlehawks being the team in there, but they are the one team that made it out of the UFD into the playoffs, and they'll be taking on the Seahawks. But before we do anything with playoffs, let's talk about a couple things. First, let's just go over the team stats. I know we went over the player stats last time, but let's start with the team stats specifically for the UFD. Um,
Sure thing.
so, um, I guess I could talk through the offensive side of things first here. Um,
Sure.
so just looking at it, obviously the best offense was the Battlehawks this year, and that obviously shows that they
Interdivision wise, of course.
yes, interdivision, obviously not in the NFL. But makes sense based on that why they made the playoffs over the others. Um, but yeah, the Battlehawks over 5,000 yards of offense with 3,500 passing yards and about 1,600 rushing yards. Um, they had the second most passing and the second most rushing, so they were pretty balanced rush offense, honestly, compared to our teams.
Definitely.
Stallions were not far behind though, only 124 short. Definitely a really high powered passing offense compared to the Battlehawks, but the rushing was a little worse. They had the worst in the division by a decent bit. Uh,
Yep.
you look at the Kings, they had a not great offense, very big step down from Stallions and Battlehawks. Had a really weak passing attack, but a pretty good running attack with J.K. Dobbins. And then the Renegades at the bottom, another step down, had the worst offense with pretty similar passing to the Kings, and then rushing was worse. It fell off in the back half of the year with Algier. He started off hot, but then fell. Points per game wise, Battlehawks 19.3. That's the most in the division, but that is still pretty bad. um,
Yeah.
and then Stallions dropped down to 16.6, Kings at 14.6, and then Renegades at 14.5. Um, Passing touchdowns, big difference here though is Battlehawks at 24, then Kings had 14, Stallions had 13 with all those passing yards. That is sad,
hmm
honestly. And like five,
Yeah.
at least five of those I think came against me. I'm like pretty sure. And then 12
Yep.
for the Renegades. Rushing touchdown leaders are very close, but Stallions at 17 leads, Battlehawks and Renegades at 15, and then Kings at 14. Uh, Stallions were the most efficient at getting first downs, 258. Battlehawks and Kings both had 244 and then 217 for the Renegades. So, yeah, I think very clear that the Stallions and Battlehawks just had the better offenses, and then the Kings and Renegades had the worst ones. Um,
Yep.
Renegades more so being the four in this group of four here. But you want to go over the defense?
Yeah. Well, actually, one more thing I want to mention is the
Okay.
giveaways
Hmm.
that each offense. Yeah. So you might think, oh, that Stallions offense was really good. They also led the league in turnovers, like by a pretty wide margin, 27 giveaways. Um.
Oh yeah, that
Yeah,
is.
they really could. I mean, that's really the killer.
Yeah.
Uh, kept turning the ball over. Um, and the Battlehawks, I'm surprised are have so many. Honestly, I feel like they're really safe, and the Kings are
Yeah.
actually pretty safe with I mean,
Yeah.
division wise,
The
only 16
Battlehawks,
giveaways.
yeah, the Battlehawks had the worst differential, turnover differential. The Renegades are the only one in the positive at 6, but clearly that safe play did not end up turning out very well for them. Um, but
All
yeah,
right,
looking back at your defense here.
yeah, let's go over these defenses. So, beginning with just total yards allowed, the Battlehawks again leading the pretty like widely here, and actually they had a
Yeah,
really good unit overall, not
yeah,
just in the division. They had a top 10 defense in total yards allowed. They had the third best passing offense in the league, or not sorry, passing defense in the league. So their secondary was handling business, and definitely helps them. secure this UFD title. Their rushing yards allowed, though, they definitely ran on pretty consistently. And going over the Kings, yeah, like it's kind of it's a big fall off. I mean, they gave up 400 more total yards. Their passing defense wasn't terrible, 14th in the league actually, but 31st in rush yards allowed. They got ran all over all
Yeah.
year. They just could not hold it down in the trenches. The Renegades actually 23rd in total yards allowed, and their pass defense was not that good, but they had a pretty solid run defense, the best in the actually in the division, at 16th there. That's only 1,500 yards given up.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the Stallions just this defense is ass. Gave up actually by a wide margin more
Yeah.
yards than any of the other teams in this division. Um, yeah, gave up the most passing yards in the league, gave up the most yards total in the league, gave up the most points in the league, and their rush defense was technically, not terrible, not like the worst in the league, but
Not
it's
good.
definitely the worst unit. Yeah, no. In points, yes, again, points allowed, the Stallions dead last in the league with 469. The Kings at 446 are 31st. Your Renegades are actually not
You
too
know,
bad.
they
365 at
there was
20th.
a lot of games there in that first half of the year, especially where it was like really close, low scoring games. That's definitely part of that. But there's some bad ones in the end where we were getting
Yeah,
mollywopped.
you were getting mollywopped, but the Battlehawks had a top 10 defense in points allowed.
Crazy.
Um, just yeah, this Battlehawks team was really kind of overperforming, I would
Hmm.
say, despite everything that happens. With of course the Mason Rudolph stepping in and kind of helping them uh, coast along as Daniel Jones recovered.
Yeah.
Sacks wise, I guess we'll start with the worst teams in
Sure.
terms of getting sacks. The Kings only had 30 sacks, which is 31st in the league. Not good. The Stallions had 37 sacks, which is 28th in the league, which is not good. Because the trenches weren't really either of these teams' strong suits, but
Hmm.
teams that did have good trenches, of course, the Battlehawks at fifth in the league in sacks with 52, but they did not lead the division, as your Dallas Renegades led the division in sacks with 54 and fourth in the NFL.
Those young
That D line
boys.
was cruising.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was really they kept forcing negative plays, and then those low scoring games you talked about, I feel like was heavily dictated by
Absolutely.
that front seven.
Absolutely.
Um, and now in fumble recoveries, just a fun one here. Interestingly, Kings did not recover a single fumble in this season, which is the last, obviously, in the league. The Battlehawks only recovered two, 29th in the league. The Renegades recovered 11 fumbles, which is third in the league. And the Birmingham Stallions recovered 12 fumbles, which is second in the league. So it's really
Nice.
interesting that, like,
Yeah,
yeah, like
it's
this,
these defenses are not
yeah,
built the same. Obviously, they have
not at
all
all.
have different things that they're good at, I guess. I mean, the Kings weren't really good in general at anything on defense, but the Battlehawks were like really good in terms of yardage allowed, at least through the air, but they could not, and they also got a lot of pass rush, but they just could not force turnovers.
Yeah,
At
it was a
least
great field
fumbles.
position defense for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, your team though was an excellent. I guess let's
Yeah.
go over the last stat before we talk about that. Interceptions for each defense. Kings only had 7 this season, 31st. The Battlehawks had 9, which is 21st. The Birmingham Stallions had 11 which is 16th, and your Dallas Renegades had 17 interceptions, which is 4th in the league.
Woo.
Damn.
Yeah.
So yeah, your defense was definitely
They carried. They
the
carried.
strong. Well, it was the strongest just in terms of turning the ball over. I would
Yeah.
say by a wide margin in this, and probably one of the best in the league because you're leading in fumble recoveries and interceptions and sacks. I mean, that is incredible. Your offense really sucked. Wow.
Yes, they did.
Because and same goes with the Stallions and the defense. Their defense really sucked. They recovered a lot of fumbles, um, and they were solid. They would occasionally make big. They were a big play defense.
Yeah.
They would occasionally just get a turnover, but they could not if a team got a drive going, it was over.
A bend and
It was
break
either you turn the
defense.
ball, it was either a turnover or you get rolled over,
Yeah.
which is not good. But yeah. So, kind of what any does anything like jump out to you as you look at these stats here,
Um,
in the interdivision?
I mean, I do think it's interesting that I don't know. The Kings just kind of stink is what I'm seeing. Like it's crazy how bad their defense was. They couldn't get to the quarterback. They couldn't really force turnovers that much. Their run defense was horrible. Uh, yeah, I mean it's crazy that that's like such a big issue with this team because they have so many holes at this point. Their whole O line's horrible. They really have a lot of retooling, I guess, rebuilding to do here. So I'm interested to see what they do to at least make this decent enough to make themselves a better team going into next year.
Yeah, it's yeah, no, it's not really comparable. I feel like every other team at least has a strength. I
Yeah.
don't really know if you could say the Kings have a strength. I mean, they were a good. I know J.K. Dobbins was good, but we have
Yes.
to give him that. They had a solid rushing attack, but that was really it. Like their
Yeah.
defense wasn't great, their offense wasn't great anywhere. Yeah, it's gonna be interesting to see how this team, because on paper I don't think they're the worst in this division, but
No.
they just, clearly something's not clicking. They're gonna have to try to maybe get some more scheme fits in the building. But yeah, I think the rest of the stats definitely tell a good tale of how each of these teams were doing this season, and their kind of tribulations and their strengths.
Yeah. Yeah, and just wanted to see here, like, no conversions. There's really nothing super special. Like all these teams really similar in their conversion success, so nothing really to mention there. I do see one thing interesting here: red zone efficiency. The Kings were actually the best red zone offense, which is really crazy by 11%. They, I,
Huh.
they were able to once they got to the red zone, they were able to score. I think the trouble was getting to the red zone. Um,
Yeah,
wasn't
yeah.
always easy, but
I mean,
everyone else
it can
was a
also
little
be
bit.
skewed. I mean, if they rarely get to the red zone,
Oh,
maybe that's
they did have the least attempts in the division, but it was not by much. It was two less than the Renegades, three less than the Battlehawks. Stallions had the most attempts, but they completed less than half of their red zone drives with points, which is
yeah.
really concerning.
Yeah.
47%. And then in terms of defensively, actually the Kings and Battlehawks were um pretty poor defenses in the red zones, whereas the Renegades and Stallions were better in the red
Hmm.
zone on defense, which is also interesting. That Stallions really a bend don't break kind of defense. They let up a ton of yards, but they were able to hold it down sometimes.
Yeah,
Um,
fair enough.
and I know you have penalties on your chart. We do see there is a big gap here. Renegades and Stallions gave up the least, committed the least penalties in the division. Battlehawks Kings by a big step up in those penalties. So, although I do find it interesting, the Renegades, who are at 70 penalties, have only 63 less yards than the Battlehawks, who have the most, which is 86 penalties. So, Renegades committing more costly penalties, it looks like.
Yeah, I remember there were a few downfield penalties that
Yeah. Yeah.
bit
Yeah.
them.
Rough. But yeah, I mean, I do think each of these teams have their points where they need to improve upon, and clearly are shown in the stats we just looked over. Um, it'll be interesting to see how these teams eventually try to solve these and remedy these issues, and see if maybe they can even further their strengths. Because I think each of these teams do have strengths, um, but we'll see. But with that being
Absolutely.
said, let's head on to our game of the years. So, uh, one thing that we did during the entire season was keep track of each week, picking a game of the week and seeing, hey, which game do we feel like was the best? And we tracked them all down and we narrowed it down to our best game of the year. Um, so I guess, Voodoo, do you want to go just by our top three, and then we'll
Yeah,
go.
let's just go top three. So, do you want to like trade top threes, then trade top
Yeah,
twos? Let's do that. Let's
yeah.
do that.
So I'll start first. So my third game of the year was in week 17. The Dallas Cowboys versus the Houston Texans, the Texas Bowl here. Um, this was a big back and forth battle here. 37-31 victory for the Cowboys in overtime. You saw the Cowboys put up 14 in the first, then the Texans fired back with 14, but Dallas also kept the lead with a 3, so there's 17-14 in the third quarter. Um, Dallas put up another 14, so they went up to 31, and Houston was down at 17. But then Houston fired back with 14 points in the fourth quarter to bring it to overtime, but Dallas was able to finish it off with a touchdown and win the game. Just a very clean game. Both quarterbacks had great games. Saw great run games. Offense is just firing on all cylinders. And this late in the season, with players being injured and also just fatigued, I think it's just a very entertaining game to see this far in. How about you?
Absolutely. All right, let's take a trip down to Denver, where I had a Week 9 matchup against the Bills. The Bills taking on the Broncos in Denver, and these are two pretty strong, obviously playoff AFC teams. Um, they were battling midseason, and yeah, Buffalo had a nice lead here heading into the fourth quarter. Um, they were up, I believe, what that's going to be 28, and then they were up a few scores, I believe 2 scores heading into the fourth quarter, and Denver rallies 14 points, and Buffalo with only a field goal, and the Denver wins it by 1 point
Yeah.
in regulation. Bo Nix, Josh Allen both played incredible games. It was a great quarterback duel. There was some run game. Of course, we go Dowdle as a Bronco, so he was doing what he had to do, and James Cook had a pretty good game as well. And there's some sacks here and there, but it was really just a quarterback duel here, and we saw um, Bo Nix with just taking a few less sacks and managing to make the plays when it mattered most. Denver was able to get this big win here that ultimately mattered for playoff contention.
Yeah, that is very fair. And then moving to our second placers, we head back to a Dallas game here, but this time week 15 against their division rival, the New York Giants. Um, where are they at here? They are down here Thursday night football to kick off the week in Dallas. And this one was a crazy one because it was a very, it wasn't really super high scoring, but it wasn't low scoring either. But it started out 5-3 in the first quarter with a safety in there. And then the Giants put up 10 more in the second. It was 15-6 after a Dallas field goal. Dallas fights back with 10 in the third quarter. So 16-15. And then in the fourth quarter alone, 33 points scored between both teams. And Dallas holds on with an 8-point victory, 36-28. That 33 points, like I feel like just imagine watching that fourth quarter, like
Yeah,
just all
that gives
offenses
very much like
firing.
Chiefs Bills divisional round.
Yeah,
All no bars held. Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome.
yeah. But it's yeah, just I mean, both teams really just heating up in the back end of the game in a very close defensive game early, uh, and just seeing that just kind of both teams just firing back and forth for the last 15 minutes of the game is very exciting. But what's your number two?
Actually, I'll talk about my number two when you talk about your number one. I think that's fair
That is fair
because
because they are the
they
same.
are the
So
same.
I guess we'll
Yes,
just go to my number one now.
let's do it.
Um, which will be the Stallions and Ravens. We watched the back end of this game, in actual game, but this game it was just very back and forth, and it wasn't expected to be this good between the Stallions, who are a completely new team with really lacking talent, versus the Ravens, who are supposed to be one of the best in the league. But it went to overtime where both teams got at least a possession. And I mean, these quarterbacks had a crazy duel here. And I mean, how you were watching your team in this game, and this was your number two, right? So how do you feel
Yeah,
about
this
this
was
one?
my number two, and I wanted to put it at one, but I put my bias aside for that. But this is still an awesome game and is deserving of number one. This was awesome to watch. Sam Howell. I don't know. Was a really awesome, just a fun game to watch, really. And obviously we were on the losing side of it, but it was just like, man, this looks like a competent football team. Like I was seeing before my eyes like a ball club that was actually like competent. It was incredible. And yeah, no, it was just as you said, back and forth, and down to the wire. And you can't ask for much more than that. Overtime thriller. Lamar Jackson's able to get it done with his stacked roster, but Birmingham puts up an incredible fight in their inaugural NFL season.
Yeah. And then that takes us to your number one.
Yep, number one. It was close. I was gonna go with Stallions Ravens, but my number one selection has us turning the clock way back to the very first game of the NFL season here, where San Francisco headed to Lumen Field to take on the Super Bowl champion Seahawks, and it was a light show. It was just as close of a game as you could possibly ask for, where the Niners were down. I believe they were in the fourth quarter down uh, about a few. They were down a few points, but then they were ultimately able to make that up with 10 points. The Seahawks held with a touchdown of their own to send the game to overtime, and ultimately walked it off um, with 6 here and ended the game 41-35. And yeah, there was just no defense really in sight. It was all offense all day. The run games were awesome. The role was specifically the Seahawks run game
That
with,
two-headed
with Kenneth
monster.
Walker and Bijan.
Yeah, we were
That is a
very interested to see how they were going to implement both of these guys after the Bijan signing. We saw it there in this
and
game. It's crazy.
they did it incredibly well. And honestly, it was probably the reason the Seahawks won. But Brock Purdy turned it on. He was also incredible, and Christian McCaffrey was a great weapon as a receiver as well. So I feel like it's a closer running back duel than you might think, because McCaffrey was getting a lot of work in the receiving game.
Yeah.
And yeah, just ultimately it was an awesome game. And it just I just was like, man, I was in awe, like opening up the season and having just a thriller of that caliber. I mean, it was everything you could ask for in Thursday night football, exactly what you imagine. Divisional football, down to the wire, and yeah, you'll love to see it.
Yeah, I think that's very fair. That was my my favorite to win it until that week 13 game showed up, and I was like, well, it's close, but I'm gonna take the Ravens Stallions. But
It's
it's
fair.
very fair. But now let's focus on playoffs. So we have both made predictions for the entire bracket, and we'll see. But at least as where it stands right now, this is the bracket. Um, Voodoo, do we want to do yours first or mine first?
Let's go over yours first.
Okay. So I have it on my screen here. So, let me zoom in my screen on Streamlabs because it is not as zoomed in as I would hope. But hopefully you're not super vertigo here, people. I don't even know if it'll really be an issue with this, but it is a little whoa. But anyways, yes, here's my bracket. So again, kind of put in some thought, obviously. Just looked quickly at the teams and how they did on the season, and kind also was really I looked at their how hot they were right now. Their win streaks were something that played more of an important factor than probably anything else, honestly. Because I do think that there's some teams that, maybe have cooled off, and there's some teams that have been on a hot streak that are going to be hard to stop. So, first, I have the Raiders beating the Chargers to head on to the divisional to play the Steelers, who beat the Jaguars, because I do think the Steelers have been a little bit hotter than the Jaguars have been. And then Denver, who I think is a very good team, this was a tough one to predict because I do think the Bengals are also very good now with Tristan Wirfs being on the team. But I think the Broncos have just been, I think, more well-rounded. So I have them going on to play the Bills again. And then I have the Broncos actually beating the Bills because I do think the Broncos, again, have had just more momentum. And then I also have the Raiders with all their new pieces, beating the Steelers to take on their division rivals in the AFC Championship to inevitably have the Broncos go to the Super Bowl. On the NFC side, I have the Eagles taking down the Cardinals. I know the Cardinals have been a very fun team to see with Mendoza, um, but I just do think the Eagles are just super, super well-rounded team with talent everywhere. Um, Niners, Packers. I think the Packers have kind of lost momentum as of late and kind of beat up on some bad teams, primarily the UFD specifically. Um, so I think the Niners have just a better roster and they're better suited to move on. And then Battlehawks, Seahawks, obviously would love to see the Battlehawks make it further because it'd be fun. I just don't see a way it's possible. The Seahawks, still a very good team. Obviously won the Super Bowl last year. They have that crazy two-headed monster running back group there with Bijan and Kenneth Walker, and uh, the Battlehawks run defense we talked about, not great. So I have my concerns with their team in that regard. So I do see the Seahawks moving on. Vikings, Niners. I just don't believe the Vikings. I don't know how they're the 1 seed. They had so many one possession wins, one score leads. I just don't
Mhm.
feel like they're as legit as they seem. And I think the Niners are just a better team at almost every position, other than obviously like receiver and there's a couple other maybe. And then Eagles, Seahawks. I think that one's close too. I do lean Eagles there, and then I do have the Eagles going in with a win over the Niners, and then in the Super Bowl, Broncos, Eagles. I think these are just two really really momentum heavy teams here with really extremely well built rosters, and I just think the Broncos defense might just be the thing to push them over the edge for the Super Bowl. That's what I have them doing.
Oh, you have a 6 seed Broncos team making the
Yes,
run, and
I do.
wow, okay.
I do.
Oh,
Um,
interesting.
but there is that one. Now let's take a look at your playoff predictions.
Let's do it. So, also, funnily enough, I like how both teams that are 0-4 in Super Bowls are first round first round bye teams. Love to see
Of
that.
course, of course.
Um, okay, so let's kick this one off here with the AFC. Of course, the Chargers taking on the Raiders. Uh, I think this one could actually be kind of close, but that Raiders team, I don't know how they got. They did all those things in free agency. I had to go with the Raiders. I think the Chargers are a good team, but just I mean, the Raiders got so much talent in free agency. It's going to be hard to bet against them. And then we have the Bengals Broncos here, and things are going to change very quickly because I have Cincinnati taking care of Denver.
Yeah.
Because Joe Burrow has been, I know that Denver defense is really good, but Burrow has been on fire this year as he usually is, and I think he can get out of Cincinnati here with a win, take down Denver, and move on. And lastly, the Jaguars taking on the Steelers. This one's pretty close, but I did lean the Steelers here, so Pittsburgh will go to take on Buffalo in the divisional, where I do think the Bills will ultimately win over Pittsburgh and go to the AFC Championship game. And on the other side of the championship, of course, we have Raiders Bengals, where I have the Cincinnati Bengals taking down Las Vegas to go to the AFC Championship game. So we have a Bills Bengals Burrow Allen championship matchup here, where I ultimately have Cincinnati upsetting the Bills. Maybe not upsetting, but winning on the road in the championship to
The
go
Damar
to the Super
Hamlin
Bowl.
game rematch.
Oh no,
Hopefully not the same outcome.
yeah, hopefully not.
He's
So heading over to the NFC side, Eagles Cardinals. You said it. I think the Cardinals fun team with Mendoza and all the young talent on that roster that they're rebuilding, and yeah, they're probably definitely happy to make the playoffs, especially in such a competitive NFC West.
yeah.
To me, I mean, it's a very good sign for that team. But ultimately, Eagles are just really good, and I think they're gonna handle Arizona there in the wild card and move on. Niners Packers, and this could be a very fun game here. Maybe a little game of the week in the wild card.
Yeah.
Little game of the week. And I actually have Green Bay winning. I just have a really good feeling about Green Bay, as you're going to see in the rest of this bracket. I know that they've had some easy times against the UFD, but I just feel very good about where the Packers sit. And Jordan Love and a team that's like, I don't know, they're just like weirdly good. They're one of those teams that are, they don't jump out at you, but they're weirdly well rounded and good basically everywhere. And the last wild card matchup, the Hawk Bowl, the
Yeah.
Battle Hawks Seahawks. Yeah, I think the Seahawks are going to handle business here. It would be incredible if St. Louis wins the playoff game. I would be screaming. Uh, but no, Seahawks are going to probably win this one here and go to face the Eagles. Going over divisional matchups, we have an NFC North matchup here in the first one here with the Packers and the Vikings, and I have the Packers upsetting the Vikings because I am also not terribly high on the Vikings. I think that they've got a lot of things to go their way, and I just don't believe in that roster necessarily. Um, so I think the Packers are going to make a bit of a run here, get to the championship game, and on the other side of it, Eagles Seahawks. I do have Philadelphia moving on. I think this could also be really, might also be a game of the week. Not gonna lie.
Oh,
No,
tough choice.
well, dumb bold choice here. No, but the Eagles move on to take on the Packers in the championship game, where I was. This is the hardest one for me. I had to really go back and forth here because I think the Eagles are just a better team, but I don't know why. You ever just get that feeling? You're just like, I don't know why. I just feel like this team's going to be really good for some reason in the playoffs. I think the Packers are going to make the run and go to the Super Bowl, take on Cincinnati, where Cincinnati will win a Super Bowl, and that's my prediction.
All
Bengals are your
right.
Super Bowl winner over the Green Bay
The
Packers.
two logos with the letter as their logo.
There you go.
That's very fair. I mean, yeah, I think both those teams very well could make the run. Um,
The AFC, I feel
so
like, is more volatile. I would say, like, because you could have like, I feel like the Broncos, either the Broncos or the Bengals making a Super Bowl. You could have Raiders could make a run. The Bills could make a run. Like, I feel like a lot of these teams are like it's kind of a coin flip. I think it's very close. In the
yeah,
NFC, I do think there are some easier games. Obviously, the Cardinals, the Battle Hawks,
yeah. But
teams that maybe we're not.
I do think the
But
Eagles, Niners, Packers, and Seahawks are the teams that are like real contenders.
yeah,
Um,
absolutely, it's gonna be fun.
so yeah, it will be very interesting. But um, let's go ahead and sim. We're not going to be like as in depth with these games as we were in our Giants Cardinals franchise, since we're focused purely, or at least mainly, on the UFD. But we will, go over quickly on, why
Mhm.
each team won their game. But let's go ahead and advance and see who makes it through the wild cards, through the divisional round. And I don't know, wouldn't it be something if the Battlehawks win?
Well,
Okay,
let's.
it was
Okay,
certainly something, but I guess I'll go over the AFC side real quick here.
you got it.
So we do see a very close one here, overtime thriller with 3 touchdowns scored in overtime. The Raiders managed to
Wow,
squeak out the win with 534 yards of offense.
jeez.
Almost had as many passing yards as the Chargers had total yards. Um, and yeah, I mean the Raiders looked like they dominated the game based on like time of possession, 0 turnovers to 2, all the yardage, but Chargers stayed in this one. Um, in the grand scheme of things, though, the Raiders' run game was just way better. Their passing game with Baker was about as even with Herbert, if not slightly better. And when it came down to it, the defenses for both these teams, obviously the Raiders made more plays with the 2 turnovers. Quincy Williams with both the interception and forced fumble recovery. Um, very, very good game for these two. And this is a game of the week potential. But I mean, this actually is a pretty entertaining game with that double
Mhm.
overtime. Not double overtime, but And now this one's an interesting one. I didn't think it was going to be this different here of this much of
Wow.
a score difference, but a 14-point win for the Denver Broncos, which I thought they were going to win, but I thought it was going to be maybe like a one-score game.
Mhm.
But yeah, Cincinnati only puts up 10 in the first half, can't score a single point
It's
the
odd
rest of the
because the
way.
yards, they have 100 more yards than Denver.
Yes, yeah, they were able to move the ball more efficiently, but and they both had 1 turnover. So really, you're wondering what happened here. It's tough to say, but I mean, it does look like Bo Nix was just more accurate and more efficient. Obviously, Burrow aired it out more, got some more yardage. it's not like the run games were that different. Um, Sutton had 2 touchdowns. It really, I guess, came down to the Broncos defense. I mean, it's very impressive to be able to hold the Bengals offense to 10 points, especially in one half, and then not let them score the rest of the way. So there was also 2 blocks for the Broncos, so that may have played a little bit of a factor.
Oh,
Actually, I'm curious. So it looks like there was a field goal block on McPherson. He missed 2 of his 3 field goals. That's brutal. So that obviously will affect things. And also punt blocked. So I think when it came down to it, the defense and special teams just came to play, made the big plays, and Bengals just couldn't outpass the Broncos' overall team performance. And then we were both wrong on this one. Jaguars win a close game in overtime again
game of the week.
against the Steelers. Maybe they outgained them by a lot offensively. Did have 1 less turnover, similar time of possession. Rattler obviously just did not play too well. Trevor Lawrence didn't play amazing, but he played clean football and helped this team win the game. Travis Etienne obviously had a great game. Steelers' run game could not really get going. So when it came down to it, I mean, the O-lines didn't really play great. Ton of sacks on both sides, but the Jags defense had those 2 turnovers and 2 interceptions, and I just truly think the Steelers with Rattler, maybe we should have thought through that a little bit further. Maybe that was going to be a little bit of more of an issue for that first round than we thought, but
Sure.
yeah, Rattler, he's not quite the guy, but he's good enough to get to the playoffs, just not quite the playoff performer that Trevor Lawrence is here. So we will see Bills, Broncos, Raiders, Jaguars. Do you want to talk about the NFC side?
Yeah, let's go through this real quick. So we were both right on this. Again, Cardinals happy to be here, but Philadelphia is a better football team, so Arizona goes home. Just overall, I mean, yeah, Jalen Hurts handled what he had to handle here. They do also dominate top of possession, which makes sense. Yeah, Mendoza played okay, 200 yards, a touchdown, no picks, but only 57 completion percentage. You just want more from your quarterback in a game like this. Rushing wise, Tank Bigsby is the running back 1. I think Barkley's
Saquon,
injured.
yeah, it looks like he's
Yeah.
hurt. It's him and
So
Shipley.
so Tank Bigsby came in and played okay. 61 yards on 17 carries, and also Will Shipley he stepped in. Jalen Hurts getting involved in the ground as well. Cardinals could not run the football. Marvin Harrison tried his best, but it just was ultimately not looking too good for them defensively. Of course, the Cardinals got 2 sacks compared to the 1, and aside from that, yeah, just was kind of the Eagles were just again they proved they're the better team. They win by 10. Not like a really flashy game from the Eagles. They just do enough to win and be the better ball club. And here's an overtime football game here. So maybe another game of the week.
Oh,
Niners,
yeah.
Niners, Packers, and the Packers do get out of Santa Clara with a win. 458 yards of offense as they just light up the scoreboard. Very,
Yeah.
very close football game.
I do want to note here. I see 21 first downs for Green Bay to 8 for the Niners. That is
So I'm curious how this game honestly went to overtime because so Jordan Love had 350 passing yards, 3 touchdowns. He was lights out. Only took 3 sacks, 72 completion percentage. Purdy did not play that well. Only 183 yards. Did throw 2 touchdowns, no picks, but only 53 completion percentage. You want more from your quarterback there. Josh Jacobs had a pretty solid game for Green Bay, along with Mike Washington Jr.
yeah.
Who also got involved. But
Yeah. I think
is
he's hurt.
McCaffrey also injured? Good
Yeah.
lord.
That's
So
brutal.
running back injuries plaguing this. Yeah, I feel like the Niners definitely had a much better shot with McCaffrey than without him, and yeah, Garendo just wasn't able to be nearly anything that CFC could beat. Oh, excuse me. Christian Watson, holy smokes. There you go. 141 yards on 11 catches. Matthew Golden with 2 touchdowns, 100 yards on 4 catches. So yeah, Packers pass catchers were here to play, and yeah, ultimately the pretty back and forth in terms of sacks. Tyron Hopper, the Will linebacker, with 2 sacks on the day. There was also a forced fumble by Green Bay and a recovery, Xavier McKinney with that one. And yeah, so ultimately it was just a close game, but the Packers were able to make that extra play, force the extra turnover, and Jordan Love was able to put this team above the 49ers. And lastly, pretty shocking, honestly. Wow. Okay. So
Wow.
St. Louis loses. They lose 20-20. But in the fourth quarter, they were up multiple scores. Oh wait, no, sorry.
They're up 3 points.
Were they up only 3 points?
Yeah.
Wait.
Yeah.
14. Yeah, no, because they
Yes.
also kicked the field goal. I'm done. I'm done. I'm
Yes.
done. I'm done. Never
Yes.
mind. They had to lead in the fourth quarter. They had to lead in the fourth quarter.
They
Hey,
did.
you're out. You're respect.
Hey, no, look at the 8-yard difference in yards gained, man. That's close.
Yards gained was actually pretty good, but Battlehawks did turn it over. Actually, the time of possession is really weird. What the hell?
Oh
Seahawks
yeah,
had no. I think the St. Louis was just trying to grind the clock down,
they
and
must have. Yeah,
only 18 minutes for the Seahawks to play football, and yeah, I mean Daniel Jones actually played pretty well. 259, 2 touchdowns, 83 completion percentage. He actually played really well, and Sam Darnold also. I mean, he's pretty good. Honestly, he's kind of knows football. But yeah, we knew where this game was going to be made a difference. Bijan Robinson, 12.8 a carry, 10 carries, 128 yards with a 70-yard long touchdown. Uh, 2 touchdowns total on the day. Najee Harris, Kenneth Gainwell, and Daniel Jones all tried to chip in. Kenneth Walker did nothing today. He three attempts for 1 yard,
but
unfortunately for him.
they didn't run it a lot. Only 13 carries between the two running backs. I mean, Bijan obviously
True.
was very
The
efficient,
yeah,
but
the efficiency, yeah, for sure. Ryan Flournoy tried his best for the Battle Hawks. Bijan
Bijan.
Robinson also
Oh my
a
god.
monster in the air too. He's 200 total yards this game. This Seahawks team, this might just be a dynasty now because
They
we
could
gave
be sneaky. I know they kept it close here, but yeah, I mean, that's dangerous, man.
that is dangerous and yeah, some respectable efforts with the rest of the pass catchers going to the defense. Boye Mafe with 2 sacks. Jake Galday, their first round pick, had a sack today. DeMarcus Lawrence had a sack today as well. Servocia Dennis, the GOAT, of course, with a sack, attempting to help his team, but ultimately unable to do so and get the win. No interceptions. Justin Jefferson with 2 deflections and 2 TFLs. Shout out to him for the Battlehawks. There was also a forced fumble and forced fumble recovery for Ernest Jones the fourth. And yeah, so really it was a close game. Battlehawks tried to just keep it on the ground, but there's too many big plays. Bijan Robinson took over. Sam Darnold played efficiently, and they were able to send home the Battlehawks.
Yeah. Yeah, so
So we'll see a divisional matchup of the Vikings and the Packers, NFC North duel, and a Eagles Seahawks duel on the other side. So that's so far my NFC predictions are right on the money.
that is true, and yeah, I was wrong about the Packers winning, and I was wrong about the Steelers. Otherwise, I was pretty dead on.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Fair enough.
not too bad. If you combine our predictions together, we'd only be wrong on one thing, and that's the
Yeah, only
Jaguars.
this. We were really high on Spencer. Big
I
Spencer.
honestly, I just kind of felt like overall their team was so insane outside of him that they were gonna win.
True.
But I
I just had a
forgot.
good yeah.
I don't know. I
Had a good
forgot that
feeling about
Spencer Rattler is also ass. So,
it. There
um,
you go.
but that is okay. But we will head into uh next week
The
and
champion.
see. Yeah, we'll see who makes it to the championship games. Um, yeah, I mean those Packers did look very good, so I wouldn't be surprised if they're there. Wow. Okay, this is interesting. So we'll start with the AFC again. I was correct again about the Broncos. So my predictions for the Broncos winning the Super Bowl could come to fruition here, as they just, they were able to again squeak out a close win over the Bills like they did earlier in the season. They just, outgained them offensively. Both had 1 turnover, had some more time of possession. They were just able to hold off the Bills long enough here. Obviously only 3 points in the first half, and then obviously Bills tried to fire back with 25 in the back half, but Broncos were able to also score 17 to keep them at bay. Both quarterbacks had their struggles today. They did enough to help these teams, but obviously had some struggles. But oh my God, Rico Dowdle, other than the fumble, was incredible today. 117 yards on 16 carries and a touchdown. Also, RJ Harvey had a good game. Bills, James Cook just did not play too great. Their run game was just not as good. Receiving, yeah, it's pretty mediocre. Did see Deion Dawkins give up 2 sacks, which is not ideal. Um, and then the pick for J.L. Skinner and Teron Johnson. And also Terrell Bernard with a forced fumble. No recovery. But yeah, I mean, it just seems like one of those situations where Denver really honed in on that run game, and their defense just kind of forced Josh Allen to have to throw it more, and made a couple mistakes enough to be able to lean on the run game.
Yeah, that run game was really good. Maybe this Dowdle Harvey dual
Yeah,
backfield could be something to watch.
maybe. And we see again just really surprising us here. The Jags win in overtime, game of the week potential game. Um, they were able to beat the Raiders here. They were outgained, but not by a ton. Both, well, the Jaguars were clean though. Raiders had 3 turnovers, and that's probably why they lost this game. Um,
Yeah.
Trevor Lawrence played pretty well, was sacked 4 times, but Baker Mayfield didn't get sacked at all and threw 2 picks. Not ideal. Again, I mean, the Raiders' run game, even without Ashton Genty today, looked really good with Dylan Laube and Damon Claiborne, the rookie. Um, but the Jags' run game wasn't even that special either, with no Achan. Um, so very interesting. Ted McMillan had a good game. Komet had a good game for the Jags, but those 3 turnovers really were brutal here. I mean,
Mm.
let's see where they were at here. Yeah, a ton of sacks for the Raiders, but yeah, 2 picks, Jordan Lloyd and Devin Lloyd and Jordan Lewis there, and then Jalen McLeod, the Mike linebacker, forced and recovered a fumble. And I think there's also that Jordan Lewis interception was a pick six, so that really,
Ooh.
really is a really poor play there. So when it comes down to it, I really do think the Raiders didn't necessarily, you know, play super poorly. I just think that when it came down to it, Baker did not play well when it mattered. The fumble
Yeah,
was also A.D. Mitchell, but
back to back overtime playoff
wins for the
wins
Jags.
here, and we all know
Famous
the Jags
score.
are actually kind of in overtime. Like, yeah, same score in overtime. Yeah, I think this Jags team's kind of good in the playoffs in overtime. Just if every game goes into overtime, they'll win it.
Yeah, that's true. And I
Might
mean,
be what
Jags have
happens.
been the biggest surprise so far. Other than,
Definitely.
I mean, I don't know. Maybe this one's a little bit of surprise when we go over to your side here.
Okay, maybe this one, maybe it is, but also I think like
They
obviously
are the 1 seed.
maybe we doubted them too hard.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think maybe we were too harsh on them. But the Jags were definitely a surprise. I just think that they're better rosters that played against, and they overcame it. But let's get on the NFC side real quick here. And unfortunately, my Packers Cinderella run it does not come to fruition here as Minnesota squeaks out a close win here, 17-13,
What they do.
low scoring game. Green Bay tries to put up 10 to rally, and it was only 10-3 at half, but Minnesota scored, making it 17-3, and Packers try to rally, but just ultimately unable to do so. Offensively, pretty close game. Turnovers wise, same thing. And yeah, ultimately kind of pretty even. So we'll quickly skim through the stats here. JJ McCarthy played solid, threw a pick, 2 touchdowns, 245, 69 completion percentage. Nice. Um, Jordan Love only 236, a touchdown, no picks, but he was sacked 4 times, 63 completion percentage. Packers just really leaned on Mike Washington Jr. today. Really tried to get him going. He actually played solid. Jordan Mason could not hold up to him, but Jordan Love got involved in the run game as well. Receiving wise, Ty Felton from Minnesota comes in 119 and a touchdown. Of course, the Vikings' best receiver, as we all know. Jaden
Yep.
Reed also has a big game here, 111 and a touchdown for the Packers. Watson as well. Justin Jefferson, 67 yards. Really
Nice.
good stuff. Nice. Defensively, but as we said, the sacks. Yeah, Minnesota was just sacking Jordan Love. And yeah, it was just sacks galore
We
for
love
him. And of
sacks.
course, yeah, Edgerrin Cooper got the pick, but it ultimately just didn't quite matter. Minnesota, there's the trench battle. They dominate the trenches, and win a close game in interdivision to go to the championship. But on the other side of it, My other I mean, I got the matchups right, but I got both outcomes wrong as Philadelphia gets belted by Seattle. Mollywopped, one would even say.
Yeah.
35-14. Just, I mean, Seahawks were just the better team offensively by double their yardage, 400 to 200, basically. The Eagles turned the ball over twice, and the Seahawks dominated time of possession and scored 5 red zone touchdowns and 100% red zone offensive percentage. Wow. Only 2 third down conversions for the Eagles, by the way. They got, man,
Rough.
yeah, Jalen Hurts. I think he forgot to play football. He only threw a touchdown. He had 2
Yeah.
picks, 160 yards, 50 completion percentage, and sacked 3 times. That is terrible. Terrible, terrible, terrible. And Darnold played well. He did what he had to do. 3 touchdowns, no picks, 260, 63 completion percentage. Very, very efficient for him. Bijan Robinson, this guy's actually a danger to society. He's be put in a straitjacket ASAP. Kenneth Walker also getting complimentary handoffs. Bigsby's just not Saquon Barkley. They
No.
needed Barkley back.
Yeah. I
For
think that's probably the killer for like Jordan Love. Jalen Hurts, I think, relies on that healthy run game, and
yeah,
without that,
he
that's
he
struggle.
he's really like it's his strong suit is handing the football off. No,
Yeah,
no,
I
no.
mean, kind of is true, but also it
He's
helps to have
he's really good
someone
at it.
to
Not true.
weaken the
We know how that
defense
Eagles
there.
team looked with like Miles Sanders running back. I mean, they didn't make the Super Bowl. I don't know. Jalen Naylor, 10 for 97, 2 touchdowns for Seattle. So he was a big contributor to this one. Few of the receivers getting involved, Shaheed and company, of course. Zach Bond with 2 TFLs. DeMarcus Lawrence with a nice game here, 2 sacks for Seattle. And of course the picks, Julian Love and former Panther Mike Jackson
They have
getting
a movie about him
interceptions
right now out, I believe.
for the corner.
Yeah,
Mike
Mike
Jackson.
Jackson. Oh, sorry, wrong guy.
You silly guy, you silly goose.
Where's the
We're
corner
all
Lamar Jackson? I like that guy better.
yeah, nothing else to really say. Just the Seahawks are just a really scary team right now,
I think
and
we underrated them. I forgot about how good that
yeah,
Bijan is in
yeah,
football.
man,
Yeah,
he knows how to play football, huh? He's actually kind of good at it,
yeah,
and that's the rest of the roster. On this, like, it's such a great. I mean, obviously in real life, a really well balanced roster, and that they don't really have much of a turnover. Of course, with with Bijan and all that, it's
yeah.
gonna be interesting. So we'll see a Vikings Seahawks NFC Championship game. This
Blair
is an
Walsh game.
interesting slate here. Yeah, might be game of the week, honestly.
Yes, could be. Yeah, this is very interesting. We see 2 teams that have won multiple Super Bowls, and then we see versus teams that haven't won any. So
Yeah.
will be interesting to see. I mean, it's odd. I mean, it's very odd. Yeah, I don't feel like other than the Broncos and the Seahawks. I mean, even the Seahawks we were less high on than some of the other teams. I feel like the Broncos were the team we were like, yeah. Well, I was at least. I knew you obviously had the Bengals moving on,
I
but
mean, I had them. If they got past Cincinnati, I think they could have definitely
yeah.
made a big run. But
But yeah,
fair enough.
the Jaguars we doubted, the Vikings we doubted, not Seahawks we did feel like wouldn't make it to the championship. So we kind of doubted them too. Um, so maybe we'll be doubted. We'll be proven wrong again here as we head.
What would you? Oh, okay. Well, I guess let's go. I was
Screw
gonna say,
you.
what do you think the Super Bowl matchup's gonna
Wow,
look like?
wow, and we will have a
Okay.
new Super Bowl champion of all
Yeah.
time. So the Jaguars didn't need to go in overtime for this one. Just came out hot, putting up 20 points in the first half, and they just kept scoring. 34 to 18. Didn't really outgain the Broncos by a ton, but they just had the ball longer. They were just really just continuing the slow churn of the clock. Trevor Lawrence was very efficient. 3 touchdowns under 200 yards, but 74 completion percentage. Bo Nix threw 2 picks, was sacked 3 times. Not a pretty game from him. Bashal Tutin actually played decent enough on the ground, and the Broncos did not run it very much at all. They being down that much early, they felt like they had to throw it more and leaned away from their strong run game. I kind of saw them play poorly, I would say, compared to what we've seen. Travon Walker with 2 sacks there. You see 2 picks from Jordan Lewis, another pick for him, and then Jamel Dean. So Jaguars just surprising us the whole way through. Dominate the Broncos. And how about on the NFC side?
Yep. All right. Well, this game's a little closer. Of course, a one-score game here, 28-21. It was a close game coming into the fourth quarter, but Minnesota had a 17-14 lead. Yep, heading into the fourth quarter, and they put up 11 points. So let's break it down. Vikings were just the better team offensively. No turnovers this game, and time of possession was heavily favored for the Vikings. Sam Darnold played solid. 1 touchdown, no picks. He was sacked 2 times and had a 70 completion percentage on 223 yards. JJ McCarthy, 241, sacked once, no touchdowns, no picks, 75 completion percentage. Both quarterbacks were definitely not the focal point of their offense. And talk about a an interesting flip here. So Jordan Mason outplays Bijan Robinson. I mean, maybe not actually. He just gets more carries. Bijan really just didn't get much looks for some reason. I don't know why. Seems
They
interesting.
passed. They passed it less too. They just
To
didn't
be
have the
fair,
ball that much, I guess.
I guess not. I guess Jordan Mason just and Seth McGowan uh, grinded the clock down on
Yeah.
31 combined carries, and they were just slowly bleeding the game away. And Ty Felton for Minnesota making another impact here. He might be a guy to watch heading into this Super Bowl matchup. Jalen Naylor, former Viking, with a pretty good game as well. Jordan Addison with a solid game himself. Defensively, actually, wait. Yeah, I forgot Kyle Pitts was on the Seahawks. That's funny.
Yes, he is.
I saw him. I was like, wait, hold on. I recognize that. Sacks wise, 2 for Minnesota, 1 for Seattle. Jake Golday actually turns out to be a pretty good first round pick. I remember we were like, they were picking at 32. We were like, I don't really like this pick.
Yeah, he was a round 2 to 3 projection. We weren't sure about a linebacker, but he's been used as a blitzer quite a bit, and he's been very good at it.
Absolutely, no interceptions today, of course. And yeah, I just think exactly what happened was the Vikings said, "Hey, I mean, Seattle has a talented roster. They're probably more talented than ours, and we're gonna just bleed the game down." And they were able to find some work in the run game and passing the ball, of course, and just kind of were able to kick it up a notch, shut down Bijan Robinson, and maybe not shut down, but dissuade them from running so much in the game, and then win a 1-score possession. So 1-score possession, that's nice. A 1-possession game, and take it to the Super Bowl. So we will see a Vikings Jags Super Bowl. That's a pretty fun one there. It's an interesting little matchup.
It is definitely very interesting, and I will say, I mean, we question the Vikings with their 1-score victories, but I think that's just their plan. They essentially are the Renegades, but a way better team. So just keep it 1 score, and as long as they're 1 score, they'll find a way to win, and they've done it with pretty much most of their games here this year. And the Jaguars obviously just surprising us the whole way, and it'll be interesting to see who wins. But let's look at the Pro Bowl rosters real quick. Let's see if we have any of our guys specifically. My guess is probably not likely, but maybe there's a few that show up on the NFC side here for the UFD. Initially, I am not seeing any names. I think offensively, we have no one, which I think is fair. Defensively, could be a little bit surprising, maybe. Bobby Wagner, Renegade, makes it there, but, makes sense. He played really well. Servoja Dennis at will for the Battlehawks. There you go. That was he had a ton of sacks for no reason. And then outside of that, Andre Sisco, a Renegades free safety in there. Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, strong safety 1 for your Stallions. And I believe Kobe Minor, I think, he's on one of our teams. Or maybe he's a Patriot, and I'm thinking of, I don't know why. But, yeah, not a ton, obviously. Not surprising either, but very, very nice to see a couple guys getting their getting their flowers for our teams, I guess. Uh, so there is that. Um, let's head to Super Bowl week here and see what yearly awards are looking like. Um, so MVP, surprise, surprise, goes to Joe Burrow because he threw for like 600 more yards than anybody else, over 5,000. Crazy, right? Unbelievable.
Mm-hmm.
We've never seen the Bengals MVP quarterback
Mm-hmm.
ever
Never, never,
in
never.
Madden at all. Any names for our teams? That's funny. Bryce Young, former Panther, who obviously is now the Panthers are. Already forget what team they turn into, but doesn't matter. They're not a team anymore. They're defunct. Coach of the year goes to Kyle Shanahan. I mean, sure. Um, none of our teams make it there, so not surprising there. NFC, we'll just look at the NFC, I guess, right?
Yeah.
That's what we
Yeah, I'm
care
fine with
about.
that.
Puka Nakua, Offensive Player of the Year. Any of our guys? Nope. Defense Player of the Year, Servosha Dennis for the Battlehawks. We I think we brought it up at the end of the last episode when we were going over the stats, and
Mm-hmm.
he had a great year for no reason. Just was blitzing, and he was getting 2 sacks like every other week. It was crazy, and yeah, he has a really crazy performance this year, and he's gonna be a focal point for this Battlehawks team, I guess.
Absolutely.
Do see Emmanuel McNeil Warren at 5.
That's just like that's a rookie. That's really shocking.
Yeah, I
I'm
mean,
really glad to see that.
should probably be Defense Rookie of the Year based off of that. I mean, he had a ton of
Mm-hmm.
turnovers and just impact plays, a lot of tackles too. Bobby Wagner
Mm-hmm.
makes it at 8. So that's nice to see.
Nice.
Obviously, no Kings, which is not surprising.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Offense Rookie of the Year does go to Carnell Tate. Jeremy Bernard was close. I'm surprised Mekhi Lemon was below Bernard, honestly. I actually thought Lemon was going to win it, but Lemon at 3. Very interesting.
Yeah, it's a close one.
Yeah, Deshaun Stribling there at 6, so that's cool. Jordan Tyson at 8. Defense Rookie of the Year does go to Emmanuel McNeil Warren.
Yeah.
I have a feeling he's going to be a very good player for a very, very long time.
Yeah, he's the first stallion I think everyone's rooting for, really. Of course, we had
Yeah,
Lemon, but
him and Lemon.
he's first franchise players are finding the football team. You'll have to see it.
Justin Jefferson, though, he was a guy we saw a lot in the stat sheets
Yeah, he
every
had a
week.
great. I kept calling him out because I thought he was also a really good rookie in the division, and I'm glad he's getting the love there. We also do see Jake Golday for the
There you go.
Seahawks, of course, having the year he had, and down the board here, Davison Igbinosun, IGB, at 8 for the Kings. So there you go. Kings are getting some representation. They're not completely devoid of talent. And Jalen Kilgore for the Battlehawks, also another rookie contributor to that Battlehawks roster.
There you go. And the best QB goes to Dak Prescott. Obviously not going to see any of our guys here because, wow, we have terrible quarterbacks in this division. Best running back goes to Bijan. Kings get J.K. Dobbins, and Kenneth Gainwell's there at 10. So I will say, if Kings were going to have anybody on these lists, I think Dobbins makes the most sense to be deserving. Nice to see Gainwell there, though, because he wasn't even initially on the roster. He was signed early in the season because of the injuries.
Yeah, no, it's good representation, and again, it kind of goes to show you that Battlehawks balanced offense that we mentioned, and it's a good job for them getting a shout there.
Yeah, Puka wins Receiver of the Year. Jeremy Bernard at 7. Mekhi Lemon at 8. There you go. You get some representation for Lemon.
Nice.
O-line goes to Lane Johnson, and wow, okay.
This makes no fucking sense. These are all backups. Every one of these guys are backups.
So, yeah, I mean, hey, the representation to your backups are really important. Maxi Anachor, who played a little bit to start. Tyler Cooper, the legend in the black and white. And then they were all backups for the most part. I mean, when they played, they were great. These 6 guys, they're the future.
Terrible.
Man, Madden, you got to fix your O-line logic for the awards. Jared Verse wins the line of the year. None of our guys. I was kind of expecting maybe seeing one of my young defensive
Yeah, I
linemen up
feel
here,
like your
but
Renegades had a really good season on the
I guess
defensive line,
it
but
was more of a group effort than a singular player or
true.
two. The best linebacker, obviously, Servosha Dennis. Do you see Bobby Wagner at 2? Um,
It's nice.
and DB, Emmanuel McNeil Warren. He's going to
Oh,
probably
yeah.
progress extremely well here with all
Yeah.
these awards.
Hmm.
And do you see Dax Hill, who had a handful of interceptions himself at 5? That's nice to see. Kyrie Elam, former first round bust, now revitalizing his career with the Battlehawks. Best kicker, Will Reichard. Do you see Cade York for the Battlehawks? They're at 3. Ryan Fitzgerald at 4 for the Kings. Renegades, Charlie Smith at 8. And no Stallion.
Yeah, no McLaughlin.
No McLaughlin. He missed a lot of field goals for whatever reason. It was very odd.
He did. I wish my punter would get some rep because he was actually booting it.
They should
Oh,
have a punter of the year award too, man. Stout was he
yeah.
probably would have won it because he was just launching that thing.
Yeah, for
Um,
sure.
but aside from that, I mean, do you have anything you want to really cover with the Super Bowl before we
Oh,
sim and see what
I think
happens?
let's just send it. Let's
All right.
see
I
which
guess
franchise will get their first Super Bowl.
I guess since we're here, eh, we didn't do predictions for anything else, but we'll do it since it's the Super Bowl. Who do you think's gonna win this game?
Oh man, I'm seeing an insane Jaguars. Oh, I don't know. Do I want to bet against the 1 seed? Either way, I feel like I'm betting against a team that I shouldn't be betting against. I'm
I
gonna go
guess,
Jacksonville.
I mean, that's very fair. I just wanted to quickly see what their injuries were looking like because we didn't really get to see much of that. The Vikings have a 25 overall long snapper who's week to week on IR, and then Cole Holcomb, so they're pretty healthy. Jaguars, I know, had some Travis Etienne injury issues. I see. So Josh Hines Allen is on IR. Travis Etienne's
Oh,
on IR. Walker Little, I believe their starting left tackle, is out on IR. And Foyesade Olakun as well. J.C. Horn
wow.
and Malik Hooker. So they're a beat up team, but they've really performed well here. Um, although they could return J.C. Horn. I don't know if they know that we're going to do that, but they have the ability to return him from IR. Same thing with Josh Hines Allen. So if you're going to do it, bring him back here. But I think I'm going to agree with you. I just still don't fully buy the Vikings. I know they're in the Super Bowl. And if it's a one-score game, they'll probably win unless it's in overtime. Then the Jaguars will.
True.
But
True.
I don't know. The Jaguars have just really just shot out of a cannon, and I think they might have the team to do it.
I agree. I agree with you. I think it's gonna be a fun one though. I think it'll be close, and Vikings are definitely capable of pulling this one off. And I guess we'll just have to see.
Yeah. All right, you ready?
Let's do it.
And your Super Bowl champion of the first season of the UFD franchise is the Minnesota Vikings. Win a very
Wow.
close, again, the one-score games, man. I gotta tell you, this, and if they were gonna do it, they needed to do it this year. We'll talk about their all the players they're losing. We'll mention it next episode with the offseason.
Oh, you're not
But
gonna believe this.
they're losing a ton of players. Oh, hold on, is it an
They,
overtime game?
Minnesota wins in overtime.
Wow, unexpected because that is you'd figure. I mean, that's like the. I mean, to be fair, that I was gonna mention that I was gonna be like, what happens if it's in overtime? Because it's like the immovable object versus the what is it, the unstoppable force, or whatever it is, right? Like
Yeah,
you got
I thought
Jacksonville
Jacksonville would win in
in
overtime
overtime.
though, because they've been the
Wow,
overtime demons.
the yardage equal,
Exactly the same offensive yards.
first downs
Uh,
equal,
yeah,
turnovers
beat
not
them.
equal.
Yeah,
Mm,
everything else except for that is basically equal, except for the one turnover.
yeah, you want
For
to
the
talk us through this
Jags.
one?
I'll talk you through it real quick. So yeah, JJ McCarthy played solid, but he did not get it yet. Again, I feel like this whole playoff run, he's not being asked to do everything. He's just gonna throw for 200 plus yards, no picks. He's been super clean all playoff run. Only threw a touchdown, 70-ish completion percentage. Trevor Lawrence took a few more risks, threw a few more picks. Well, a few more picks is in one. He also got sacked once with a 75 completion percentage on 220 yards and 2 touchdowns. But rushing wise, yeah, Minnesota was able to employ Jordan Mason and McGowan enough to just kind of start grinding away. The Jaguars also really tried to get the run game going. Tootin had a pretty solid game, 4.1 a carry, 77 yards. They also got Jarquez Hunter involved to try to use him as like a sneaky little Super Bowl weapon here, but he didn't do too much. 2.7 a carry. That's probably, yeah. I think they really were missing um, having their running back, of course, Chan.
Yeah.
Uh, Receiving wise, Jacoby Myers had a really nice game for Jacksonville in the losing effort. Jordan Addison with a solid game, and everyone else was kind of just there and existing. Josiah Trotter had a really good game for the Vikings with 10 tackles. Um, Jonathan Allen with the lone sack, of course. Jonathan Greenard with 2 TFLs, and Josh Metellus with the lone interception. And yeah, that's kind of just about it. It was a really close game. Saw back and forth, and nearly identical offenses and defenses. Really, just one turnover, and of course, overtime decided Minnesota is your Super Bowl champion.
Yeah. And I mean, I mentioned it. Like, I think we may have talked about it before. They have a ton of players leaving. They're going to be a team that have a ton of needs going into this offseason, and they will
Mhm.
very likely have a big drop off. So this was the year for them to do it and be all in, and they did it. So I mean, it's very impressive performance from them. Um, I guess while we're here, let's look at some retirements. Let's see. Um, let's look at our division first, see if we have anyone. So Geno Smith retires. How do you feel about that one? Your only retirement there.
I'm quite honestly, I'm sorry. I don't know if you can hear. I'm struggling not to cry right now. And
I
it's
know.
no. He was mentor. Honestly, mentor maybe Sam Howell a little bit. He came in, put a fire under Howell's ass, and
Yeah.
helped him
You
say,
should.
"Hey, I'm going to step out there and throw 20
Yeah,
picks."
you should have been able to throw
So,
20 picks. That's what happened. Yeah. Here's how you throw
so
10 more picks and touchdowns. I'll show you right now.
there you go. So Geno Smith, what a career he. Well, unironically, what a career he's had. He's honestly been underrated for a few seasons, of course, but also overrated. I feel like he's a solid
He's
quarterback in
a
real life.
very odd
Just
career.
odd career, and I think he's a solid quarterback. I would say like he's better than Jimmy Garoppolo, but that's not
Ooh,
saying much.
that's tough, man. That's a real conversation to have. I don't
That
even
might even
know.
be a hot take. No,
It could
you might be
be.
right.
I don't know.
And
It's tough to say.
stuff, but speaking of retirements, let's go over only one for the Kings and the Battlehawks. Miles Killebrew retires,
It's not a
and
big one.
Pacheco
Wow.
retires after 5 years. That
Yeah.
is really weird to see.
He's dealt with a lot of
Um,
injuries in his early career here, but I guess it
True,
was
and I think,
he got
I mean,
I
obvious.
don't know. It's
Good.
interesting. I was gonna say he got filtered out, but no, that was Najee Harris who got filtered out. So I'm interested that I guess maybe more personal reasons, maybe with the injuries.
Yeah, maybe he just was like, "Hey, I'm getting beat up, and this isn't worth it."
I don't
And
want to play for this dumbass
I
team.
don't want to play for the Battlehawks. And of course, for your retirement,
Yeah,
some big ones here. Bobby Wagner
yeah.
is the biggest one, obviously.
Yeah.
15 years, prolific career. And Preston Smith also retires. How do you feel?
Yeah, I mean I knew he was a 1 year rental. Bobby Wagner was just the pure leader of this defense, the reason why they were so good for the first half, and then obviously had some bad games, but overall, he was huge to have in the room and was there to mentor CJ Allen, and I think CJ Allen's gonna slide in at Mike now and take over, and I'm hoping it will be a seamless move. And I do thank Bobby Wagner for being willing to sign for a 1 year deal to play for a really stinky poo poo team and just hold it down and try to teach as much as he can. He was really just in that stage of his career where he wants to put his mark on as many players and try to help them grow, which is
Mhm.
very, very respectable way to go out. And then Preston Smith was a depth edge rusher who played some interior as well and had that one crazy 4 sack game. There's not much else to say about him other than he was crazy for that one game. Also a mentor, I think. Definitely helps the edge rushers with their pass rush and run defense specialty. So it was nice to see that as well. But yeah, sucks to see them go, but I'm not exactly shocked or too sad about it. But let's look at the
Fair
rest of the
enough.
league here. Vikings lose 3 here. Javon Hargrave, Ryan Kelly, and Quan Alexander. See Devondre Campbell, Shaq Thompson, and Brandon Cooks. DeMarcus Lawrence. Derrick Henry calls it quits with the Ravens. Devontae Adams retires. Denzel Perryman, Morgan Moses, Stephon Diggs. Trent Williams does call it quits, so we were talking about in our mock draft, maybe the Niners want to get a new tackle, and I think they'll definitely need one now with him
Yeah.
calling it quits. Lane Johnson, that's a big one too. DeForest Buckner retires for the Colts. Also see Darren Waller, your beloved.
My beloved. Oh man, they
Beloved.
did him so dirty. Also with
Yeah.
running back retiring after 3 years. I
I
think that's the
did. There's
shortest
another
retirement.
one too I saw
Oh,
above, but yeah.
that's funny.
Levante David as well retires with the Broncos. Shaq Mason retires a Bill. Joe Tooney retires. And then some guys in
Honestly,
free
a
agency.
little early for Tooney. I thought he'd get at least one more year, maybe.
Maybe, yeah.
But
I
no, it's
guess.
fair. I mean, 10+ years, of course, your body's gonna weigh on you. But I feel like there's gonna be some big O line needs, especially, and also some needs at Mike, of course. Levante David retiring,
Yeah.
and just talent's leaving the league, and there's gonna be a want for some of these young guys. And you're also going to need the young guys you have on your roster to step up. So it's going to be
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I do
There's
think
some,
this is a good
good.
year for O line, I think. There's some really good tackles specifically.
Yeah, interior O line's not the greatest, but the
Yeah.
tackle class is really strong. So I think they
Yes.
could definitely
Yeah.
find some guys.
Yeah. But we can actually take a look at the mock draft 4, which is out.
Oh,
We do see a lot of the same chalk picks here. Josh Burke at 1 to the Kings. You see Jay Ortiz projected to go to the Renegades here. They do have Bryce Kilgore falling to 6 to the
I'd be super
Stallions.
happy with that. I'd love that.
Looking a little further down, Jordan Brocker
That
is
would be
now as a Jet. Interesting.
Yeah, it would be a fun storyline seeing, of course, Ortiz and Kilgore
Yeah,
divisional ones. That'd be fun. But yeah, no, Brockers to the Jets would actually. Are they losing Brees Hall? I'm curious
I'm
why
not
they.
sure. I actually don't know. I know in real life they extended him, but maybe.
Right.
I haven't really looked
Maybe they end
into
up.
contracts that far.
Mhm. Couple of corner. I mean, the corner class is really nice. We have
Yeah,
a lot of guys. We're gonna break these guys down as we're learning more about them.
yeah.
Yeah, the Jets also their picks are gonna go crazy.
Yeah, because they have
Um,
what, 9,
and
14, and
yeah,
18.
there was a second they almost had like 3 consecutive first round
Yeah.
picks. Yeah, but they spread out a little bit more in favor of the Jets, admittedly. And
Yes. Do you
yeah,
see
tackles down the board.
Daryl Overstreet for the Battlehawks corner at
There you
19?
go. Yeah, nice.
And I mean, a lot of these guys are guys we I think did have in our mocks for the most part. There's a couple guys that I definitely didn't see in the mocks, but yeah, I mean, we'll obviously talk more about the draft stuff next episode. That's going to be our meat and potatoes episode with all the draft content and mocks and
This was your buttery biscuits, and
yeah,
then you're in the meat and potatoes.
yes sir, yes sir. Um, but aside from that, I I guess we can see there's some coach turnover in the
Oh
league
yeah,
as
we
well.
want to go over
So
the staff, I guess. We'll
sure,
do that.
sure, we can. Where would this be again? Is this in released? I guess. Um, it's only showing players, so maybe not yet. Maybe we'd have to sim a week here. Um,
Sure.
let's go ahead and do that real quick. Or maybe the only teams that were so bad to fire someone was our teams. That's not true. They're not going to fire Sean McVay. That'd be crazy. that'd be
They
that'd be
could 50.
crazy.
I
Also,
don't know.
Andrew
I
Reid.
would.
There's no way they get rid of Andy Reid. There's no
That'd be
way.
funny though.
It would be. Um, see, I mean, I'm not seeing any coach firings here, unless I'm missing the. I don't think there's any. So
Wow.
it,
There's no coach
interesting.
retirements either. There's just
Unless we have. Did I forget? Do we have that off? Do we have coach firing off? It's possible.
we might. Thought it would be on.
Uh, it's on CPU only, so it should be the
Yeah,
some
the
of those.
non-UFD.
I guess the teams that were bad enough have coaches that have um good enough
Yeah, I think
status.
my coach would have probably been fired. Everyone hates me. Yeah,
Yeah,
this is
I have
definitely
good 65% approval rating. No one is below
25 over here.
56. It's crazy to me
Bad.
because I'm a 4-13 team. We really sucked. Couldn't even imagine what what's his name,
The Kings.
Mr. Glockenspiel is over there.
God.
Um, but anyways, this one's a short and sweet one compared to the rest of the episodes, but this is the end of this season. So we will have a season 2 episode 1 coming out not too long after this one, where it's going to be off season franchise overview of the draft stuff and free agency. That one will
Absolutely, you're
be
gonna get
very fun.
yeah, you're gonna get a whole round of new free agents. Of
Yes,
course,
sir.
trading is now on
Yes.
the table heading into this offseason. There's also going to be, we're going to have another mock for you. We're going to have draft
Yes.
profiles for you. We're going to have draft coverage for you, and we're going to have everything you could ask for in an off season.
Kind of.
That's
I
what we
mean,
do here with the UFD franchise.
yeah, we're not gonna go quite the distance that Bengal does with his draft stuff, with like taking videos of players in college football. That is cool. Would be cool to do
Oh
that,
yeah, he does. Yeah,
but
yeah,
it's
that's
just that's
pretty
a
sick.
lot of work. That is a ton of
I,
work, and
I
yeah,
don't even have 20
you don't.
college
I
transcripts.
have the game, but it would be a lot of work. But
It's we will have that for you. We are Bengal.
no, not quite. If you had the game, I would consider. I'd be like, okay, if we split it up, sure, but no. It's okay though. But anyways, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed this. We are going to also change up the formatting of the episodes a little bit. We're gonna increase, to 5 episodes a season, just to kind of split up the regular season portions to be a little bit more consumable.
Definitely. And
So,
that way we also don't skimp on we
yeah,
want to appreciate the games and the weeks, of course, the
yes.
storylines. So I think that is the good middle point there.
Yeah. So that will obviously not really take effect in episode 1, but episode 2 will be different. It'll be shorter and more focused on the first third of the season, and then episode 3 will be the second third, and then episode 4 the third, and then obviously episode 5 remains the same with playoffs and awards and everything like that. But with that being said, Voodoo, do you have anything else to add?
I do not think I don't think I do.
He
I
he he
don't think
he
I do.
sure doesn't think he does.
I don't think I do.
But
No sirskity.
I want to thank you all for watching, and very much so appreciate all the support in any way, shape, or form, whether it's on YouTube, TikTok, YouTube Shorts, whatever it may be. We appreciate it, and we hope you're excited for the new season. I sure am. I'm very excited for the off season. I love off season stuff. If you know me and my franchises, I always get giddy and excited about the off season stuff because it's so fun.
It's
It's like Christmas.
it is, and especially for teams that desperately need
Oh,
it.
and we
It's
can
gonna
sign
be
people week
yeah, we
1 of
can
free agency. We have no more leash attached to us here.
yes, and we get to trade. I don't know if there's gonna be
Oh,
much trading happening, but
when those picks
everything's
are
on the
valuable.
table.
I mean, hey,
True.
you never know. You never know though. Trading back could
Everything's
be a thing. Trading up could be a thing. Who's to say?
Mhm,
Um,
mhm.
but with that being said, I hope you have a great rest of your day. Have a good one. Bye bye.
Take it easy.